情報も決定的なものにしない？例えば旅団の現在の場所を知ってるとか。その代わり報酬も高額にする。
And how exactly do you
そんな金どこにあるんだよ。
plan on getting the money for that?
大丈夫。
Eh? Okay, Gon's got an idea. I love this theme.
幻影旅団を追うゴンたちはネットでその情報を売るため高額の報酬を用意しようとしていた。
Okay, explain. They're at a bank?
お、すっげえ。マジで入ってるよ。
Whoa.
たく、ハンターライセンスを引き入れして金を借りるなんて。
As collateral?
イカれてるぜこいつ。
A little bit. A little bit. I mean, definitely make sure to get the license back.
今年のサザンピースオークションのカタログにな
Oh,
り
the
ます。
other one, right?
ありがとう。あった。グリードアイランド。
全部で7本の
Ooh. Oh, so
最低落札希望価格。
yeah, as I thought.
情報通りだな。
I thought it was more so of like a surprise rather than just having it all listed.
まずは雲一人を捕まえて、そいつを締め上げ、残りの団員の居場所を吐かせて一網打尽。
Come on, my guy.
ベンズナイフじゃん。
ベンズナイフ？
100年くらい前の大量殺人鬼が作ったナイフ。
Of course, Killua knows
刀
about
鍛冶と
it.
しても有名なんだぜ。そいつのオリジナルブランドなんだ。
But how
熱
did
狂的な
Gon
コレク
pick
ター
up
が
on
結
it?
構いて、隠れた名品だよ。よく知ってたな。
いや、そんなこと全然。ちらっと目に入ったらなんだか急に気になって
Oh,
秒で見てみたんだ。そしたらかすかだけどオーラが見えた。
oh, residual.
念の一種だよ。簡単に言うと、
Right.
ものすごく注意して見ること。
ちょいと貸してみろ。
Not like that, my guy.
俺には全然見えん。
レンを磨けば見えるようになるよ。
Yeah,
そうか
about that.
こんな方法があったか。金を稼ぐ方法さ。
Yeah, start looking for
どの分野で活躍している人間でもずば抜けた才能の持ち主は本人も知らずに念を使っている場合が多いってメガネ兄さんが言っ
geniuses,
てただろ。
prodigies.
ウィングさん、俺たちの
Legend.
念の師匠。このナイフみたいにオーラが漂ってる品物を見つけ出せば、それはすごい天才が作った可能性が高いってことだ。
そうか、その方法なら鑑定の知識がなくても。
But are you guys the only ones who thought of this?
白紙の値札に買いたい値段を書き込んで
Oh, look
決
at
めら
that.
れた時間までに最高価
Ah,
格を書いた
it's a
人が
bidding
落
process,
札す
kind
る
of like eBay. Been there.
ほら
Quite a
人
bit.
たちはこんな風に後からどんどん価格が書き直されていくってわけさ。
伝言サイトのチェックは俺に任せとけ。
No, stick together. You just got here, Leorio. Ooh, that looks like something.
変な壺だけど確かにオーラが出てるんだよな。先客だ。
Oh.
もし先客がいたらそいつの値段の 2.5 倍まで上げてやれ。結果割高になっても早めに敵の戦意喪失を狙った方がいい。
But that person got there before them.
5倍って。
Oh no, don't make him do math.
あ、
Get the phone out. Hey, autograph?
同じ人だ。
And even that had a bit of aura on it. Residual.
俺も2つ見つけたんだけど、
Oh,
どっ
okay.
ちもゼパイルってやつが先に入札しててさ。
Zepile.
2.5 倍で書き換えてやったら4倍で株してきやがった。
Yeah. Someone's doing the exact same thing. Hey, nice. A few of them.
結局3勝1敗か。
うん。変な壺だけ取られちゃった。
Maybe that's the one he wanted.
よしとしねえとな。あとはこいつをオークションハウスに登録するだけだ。
Yeah. Wow, nice shot. Great shot.
これが君んちの蔵にね。
お父さんが値段
I love it
しないから売ってこいって
anytime he does that.
この限定50で販売されたリトグラフのシリアルナンバーも一桁だし、作者のサインも本物だ。これも素晴らしいアンティークドールだ。状態もいいし、箱と備品が無傷で残っている。
Is this man being honest though?
これも30万はするね。だが、これは残念ながら大したものじゃないな。箱は最近作られた。
Miluki's theme.
少しだけどオーラが出てるのにな。
ただし、それは像としての値段ね。この木自体は知る人ぞ知る値打ち物だ。でも、うち以上の値段はどこに行っても出ないと思うよ。その間に、この木の年代、調べさせてもらって
No, you give that back.
待ちな。
Oh, it's him.
その木像、
Yeah.
そこに置け。
He's up to no good.
なんだ君は。
坊主、騙されんな。絵と人形の値段は妥当だが、木像に関してはデタラメだ。お前が欲しいのはその木像の中身。
He knows. He recognizes it. So this is our Zepile?
そりゃ木造り蔵だろ。
Ooh.
木造り蔵
300年くらい前に金持ちの間で流行った税金逃れの隠し金庫だ。
Jackpot.
この殺し技を後掘りって言うんだぜ、坊主。
殺し
I mean, this is all new to them, right?
贋作師がプロの鑑定士を騙す手口のことさ。だがこれは違う。
あくまで本物の木造り蔵だと。
ああ、
だが一度開けて中身をすり替えてからまた貼り付けたって可能性もある
It's
ぜ。
possible. It's possible.
プロは一度木で接合剤を熱して付け直す。
Right.
これなら開けてない状態と見た目は同じになる。焼き付けという手口さ。
焼き付けはしてねえ。火を使えば焦げ跡、あるいは接合剤の微妙な色合いの変化が生じる。
Yeah, he seems really quite
こ
sure.
れを見極めるのはプロでも難しい。当てにはできんな。
俺はプロの目利きだ。
Ooh.
この目にかけて言うぜ。
じゃあ100歩譲ってこれが木造り蔵だとして中身がすり替えられたものだったらお前どうすんだい。
Something really quiet.
一生お前の言いなりになってやるよ。
That'll do it.
諦めな。
He's like, walk away. Oh. Maybe give him a bit of that, maybe.
ありがとう
Zepile
ゼパイルさん。
礼には及ばねえよ。ギブアンドテイクってことで2割でいいよ。その財宝が売れた時の俺の取り分。
It was an appraisal, essentially.
人聞き悪いな。
いいんじゃない助けてもらっただけだしさ
Contrasting reactions.
お前な。
Interesting fellow. I like him so far.
あのねゼパイルさん、
Nice.
やっぱり悪いから手数料払うよ。またお前は。
その代わり1個教えてくれよ。お前らその3つの品どうやって目利きしたんだ。
いい本当のこと言って。
ま、金払うよかいいか。
Now he'll see if they're doing
な
the.
るほど。念のオーラね。それが本当ならお前らが木像を選びながらその中身のことを全く知らなかったのも合点がいく。お前らなんでそんなに
Oh,
金
so
が
he
欲
didn't
しい
know
の
about
よ。
Nen?
答えてもいいけど、交換だぜ。次は俺たちの質問に答えること。
Nice. Give and
ああ
take.
いいぜ。さっきの質問。
He's taking an interest in them.
グリードアイランドってゲームソフト。
I'm sure he knows about that.
あのバカ高いゲームか。
They all know about it.
おっさんが手に入れたその変な壺はいくらぐらい
Yeah,
で
the
出んの？
pod. He got the pod.
こ
Out
れ
of the 4 items, they kind of.
これはガラクタだ。ただ以下だな。
Oh,
なんであんな高額なゲームが欲しい
it
んだ。
looked kind of interesting to me.
確か60億はするだろ。
今は89億。
Yeah.
俺たち、こいつの親父を探してんだ。その手がかりが、そのゲームにあるってわけ。木造り蔵が本物だって分かってんなら、高額な方を選ぶだろ。
Ooh, good question.
でもあんたはその壺を選んだ。
はあ
He has a connection to it, something he's been
この
looking
壺
for.
実は俺が作ったんだよ。だが俺のオリジナルじゃねえ。
Counterfeit
贋作だよ。
replica.
いわゆるパチモンさ。貧乏な時、日銭を稼ぐためにちょこちょこっとな。
It still looks good.
市場を回っては。
He's taking them off the market.
お前の親父って何してるやつなの？
プロのハンターなんだ。
なるほど、プロのハンターか。骨董の世界にも何人かいるが、プロのハンターってやつは皆普通じゃねえ。お前ら2人だけで探すなんて無理なんじゃねえか？
大丈夫。俺
Yeah,
もプロ
that's
の
right.
ハンターだもん。
But he pawned off the license.
今
Get it
度
back.
そっちが聞く番だよ。
Hey, he's really into this.
俺に何か手伝えることはねえか？オークションで儲けようと思ったらどうしたって目利きが必要になる。
どうして俺たちのことを
Yeah, that's the
手伝おうと思ったの？
crucial question here.
嬉しくってな。こんな出来の悪いガラクタでも
It looks
目をつ
good,
けても
man.
らえると嬉しいもんさ。
It caught my
ガ
eye.
ラクタじゃないよ。
お、
その壺には確かにゼパイルさんの念が込められてる。
Mm.
それを自在に操ろうと思ったら大変なんだよ。どれだけの思いを込めてその壺を作ったか、この俺でもわかる。
Look
す
at
ごい才能
that.
なんだよ。
俺の目に狂いはなさそうだ。目利き商売ってのは長くやってると人間を見るようになる。
Ah,
物だけじゃなく、売る人間、買う人間をな。
nice.
骨董品を鑑定するよりも客観的に見え
Naturally.
る分、
But he seems to have a knack for
人
it.
間の評価は厳しいぜ。
さっきの店で言ってた殺し技のこと教えて。
興味あんのか？
うん。後掘り、二度漬け、焼き漬け。他にどんなのがあるの？
お前そんなのどうでもいいだろ。
Yeah,
面白いじゃん
that's gone for you.
なんでこいつに興味を持ったか、今ようやくわかったぜ。
Go on, go on.
こいつは善悪に頓着がない。
Yeah,
俺が贋作をやっていたと告白した時も、
he didn't
こ
care.
いつの顔には非難の色も悪事への憧れも浮かばなかった。
I've seen that side of Gon
俺は
already.
ただ一つ、単純な好奇心。
Spot
すご
on.
いと思ったものには善悪の区別なく称賛し心を開く。つまりこいつは危ういんだ。
That too. Illumi actually had a similar reading of
目利きが
Gon.
全く通用しない五分の品。
Yeah, sounds about right.
だが最近は新しい手
I'm sure all of this is going to be applicable
開きと
soon
言われ
enough.
る殺し技だ。
別のとこから宝を取り出した。
Hmm.
ポーン。
Ah, spot on, huh? Killua? You're spending a lot of time on this.
横
Sidestep.
抜き。
あまたの熟練
How
目利き
cute.
が痛い目にあった。
雲が。
ああ、間違いなさそうだ。
Oh.
動画も添付されてる。ターゲットは2人。男女カップルだ。
Nobunaga
そっちに向かうから
and Machi?
現地で合流しよう。
But careful. Who posted that?
任せれ。なるべく高く売ってよ。
はあ。
Give and take. There's trust.
そして2人は旅団と接触する
Who posted that?
今日ご紹介するのは雫。
雫。
掃除機デメちゃんを具現化するよ。生きてるものは吸えないぜ。容量は計り知れない。
吸い込まれたらどこに行くんだろうな。
それはギョギョギョ。
Okay, so now I can officially say that I do have 100 episodes of Hunter x Hunter left. Yeah, it's just kind of insane. I'm almost 50 episodes in, yet I've still got 100 to go, and that's a really good feeling, really good feeling. And there's moments in this episode, perhaps foreshadowing, right? In fact, I think there's probably moments in this episode that I could easily come back to down the line and kind of pinpoint as an integral moment, perhaps a crucial moment, right? Yes, up front, it really kind of feels like quite the dramatic shift from the last episode. I don't get an immediate follow-up to that intense episode, right? Instead, it's quite the detour, isn't it? It pivots, and it pivots hard. I am a big believer of, building that tension and then maintaining that tension and then releasing that tension, right? And then you kind of build up again slowly to the next phase, I suppose. But yeah, it really is quite the contrast, isn't it? I mean, it's the most intense de-escalation of the series so far, right? It goes from that, it's literally night and day, right? It goes from that Scarlet Moon and everything that happened there to just like a nice stroll in the sunny city, right? So, I'm sure this episode had calls of, filler, or, it's just a huge drop off, that type of thinking behind it. But I believe there is some fantastic stuff in this episode. Like I said a little bit earlier, there's moments in this episode that feel like they could be integral. There could be some fantastic foreshadowing at play here. And, beyond that aspect of it, I do think there's just some fantastic world building in this episode. There is, through the introduction of this new character, Zepile, right? Essentially a master of his craft. He's really quite impressive. And, people that are really good at their jobs, people that take a lot of pride in their job, they almost instantly become likable, right? I kind of just respect that about a character, right? That they really, even if it might feel quite mundane in comparison to some of these other things that are on display in this series, in this anime, the fact that he takes such pride in his work and the fact that he has worked up to this level, it's really quite respectable. And even though initially I didn't really want them to separate, Leorio and Gon and Killua, it gives us yet another chance at that dynamic, doesn't it? Gives us a lot of time actually with Gon and Killua. And once again exploring their really unique dynamic, right? There's this really fantastic balance that they are able to strike because again, there's quite the contrast there, but it's just the perfect amount of contrast, isn't it? You've got Killua on one end. He's certainly a bit of a cynic. He's extremely quick to doubt outsiders, right? And understandably so, right? There's some things that he has an understanding for based on his upbringing. And then, of course, you've got Gon, who can be really quite generous. He can be quite enthusiastic. Gon is someone who certainly takes people at face value, doesn't he? In comparison to Killua, who is really slow to trust people. But almost always, they are able to find common ground, right? They have the perfect balance. They truly do. And then, of course, there's a bit more focus on Gon's character. And I'll come back to that in a bit. Zepile's analysis, his read on Gon, right? Really, really fascinating because he's really, really quite spot on, right? And his stance and his read on Gon after just meeting him, it really helps in reiterating everything that us, the audience, has seen so far. And it really kind of helps in reiterating the path that Gon could be taking down the line, right? Again, I'll come back to that because I kind of want to focus on the ending first, because right at the conclusion there, they gave us a shot of Nobunaga and Machi just strolling out in the open. Of course, bit of a disguise for both of them. But yeah, it all just feels a bit too good to be true, right? My immediate question was, who the hell posted this? Who the hell replied to this? Right? So my immediate thought is that it's the Phantom Troop themselves, right? Perhaps trying to put themselves out there and trying to draw out the chain user, right? Because that was essentially their plan. If not Nobunaga, if Uvogin does not come back, if he does not report back by dawn, they'll kind of just assume that, yeah, he's been bested, he's been defeated. So now, they've kind of shifted gears, as the boss, Crollo, stated. As of this point, it feels too good to be true. I think they're out there by design. I think they're trying to actually get people to come after them. They're kind of out there as bait, right? I mean, it's kind of silly to call two members of the Phantom Troop bait. I mean, essentially they are bait, but of the highest quality possible, right? Lightning rods, essentially. So, this is all by design. They're out there strolling in the open by design. So, it doesn't even have to be the Phantom Troop themselves that are actually, offering this information to Leorio, who's asking for it. It could be someone else, but I think them strolling in the open is by design, right? For the reasons I mentioned. So yeah, the setup is there now for another, potential meeting. This time it's Kurapika's friends that might be coming across the Phantom Troop. So that in itself makes for really quite the interesting scenario, doesn't it? And then of course you have Killua, who had quite the interesting reaction to hearing about the Phantom Troop, right? This is in that underground arm wrestling fight club thing they're at, and the moment he kind of overhears that conversation about the Phantom Troop, he kind of perked up, but not perked up in the he's excited about it. It was more of a look of concern. So he knows enough about the Phantom Troop here. He understands enough about the Phantom Troop that I don't think he'll be careless about it. But yeah, that's for later. That's for the next episode or the next few episodes. I think this episode really could have been the perfect chance for another Miluki appearance, right? It's been a few episodes at this point, and there hasn't been any updates on Miluki. So hopefully, a bit of a check-in as well in the next few episodes. But in terms of the auctions of Yorknew City, I got a name for the other one, the Southern Bees. I mean, I guess that's the name because that's the catalog's name, or it is on the catalog. And the thing is, once again, it kind of serves as a reminder, right, that Crollo did not target that auction. That auction is meant to be much, much larger, right? It's the biggest one there is. He specifically goes after the underground auction, the mafia communities auction, right? So again, I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse at this point, maybe, but yeah, it really does feel like he targeted the mafia community for a reason, right? A long-term plan that's been on his mind, perhaps, something he's been planning essentially for some time to target the mafia community, again, for reasons unknown as of this point. But again, one of the connections that I do have is that a lot of the people from the mafia or the mafia community, and then also a lot of members of the Phantom Troop do happen to come from Meteor City, right? That's the one thing they do have in common. So, you could see something there in terms of a potential angle. Or actually, maybe he was going to target this auction as well, but there is this change of plans. But let's shift the focus now to Zepile and the marketplace and all of that, and all of these new things that Gon and Killua learn. Because you really kind of get to see, even though they are really quite impressive, from one perspective, at the end of the day, in many ways, they're still children, right? They truly are. And you really kind of get to see that at that shop in the marketplace. They almost get scammed until Zepile shows up. So yeah, there really is quite the focus on a lot of these techniques in detail, right up until the conclusion of the episode even, right? Because of course Gon is pushing to learn a bit more. He's excited to learn a bit more. And again, that's all part of Zepile's appraisal of Gon as a character, or his character, rather, Gon's character. It's really quite the fascinating and insightful read on Gon's character, right? But yeah, these techniques, I can only kind of assume that the fact that they are spending so much time on them, counterfeits and replicas that are indistinguishable from the real deal for, even pro appraisers. So I'm guessing it's going to play a part. And the thing is, initially I just kind of assumed that he was actually doing the exact same thing that Gon and Killua are doing, but no, he didn't know about Nen. He just happened to be really quite impressive at his job. So he unconsciously just, infused his Nen aura into those items, right? Into that pot. And Gon picked up on it. And of course, so did Killua, but Gon is the one who made sure to let him know, no, you're good at this. It's clear to us, it's clear to me that you've put in a lot of hard work into this, that you excel at this. And then of course, a lot of the same thing happened to some of the other items, stuff like the autograph, the lithograph that is autographed. You've got the knife, Ben's knife. Of course, Killua knew all about it. So it was really kind of cool to see that aspect of it. And then, of course, for a lot of us, it's really something quite familiar, isn't it? The whole auction element of it, the bidding prospect of it, or process of it, rather. I mean, I've been on eBay for the longest time. Going all the way back to high school, I still use eBay. There's also the infamous Yahoo Japan auctions. You can find a lot of rare items there. Sometimes it's a bit tricky for people in North America, but you can access that auction through proxies. And I've got to say, getting used items from anyone in Japan, from Japanese people, they're as good as new. The condition that you get them in, the condition that they kind of keep them in, right? It's almost as good as new. It really is. But let's shift the focus now to the most important part of the episode, and that is Zepile's appraisal of Gon's character, right? Yes, Zepile does end up being quite the fantastic judge of character, and, it kind of comes with the territory as well. Essentially, he kind of nailed it. He's spot on, right? Essentially, Illumi had a similar read on Gon back in the conclusion of the exam arc, the Hunter exam arc. And there's even that moment, right, after Illumi claims that, okay, that kind of makes him dangerous. And then he kind of proceeds to think or say, I think he's thinking it, right, that it's better to take care of him now rather than later, something along those lines. And then, of course, immediately, he picks up on Hisoka, just shooting daggers at him, right? Because Hisoka understands as well in that moment, Illumi's thought process, Zepile reiterates that Gon opens his mind to everything that impresses him, right or wrong, right? And there's been countless examples of this. His best friend in life is a perfect example of this. An assassin, someone he's seen kill people, right? He's seen him just rip that heart out and not even flinch at it, right? No reaction to that at all. But yeah, going back to Zepile's point, this is also the reason he believes that Gon is quite dangerous as well, because he cannot be truly appraised. There is that innocent curiosity, but that also makes him quite dangerous, right? With each change, I change too. If you know, you know, right? So I'm kind of looking at the long-term, the long-term storytelling of this anime, and so many of the situations that Gon is going to find himself in, right? There's going to be so many unique and dangerous and I don't know, morally gray situations that he is going to find himself in, right? Or a part of, right? So yeah, I'm going to get to see quite the interesting character arc, aren't I? Through Gon. And yeah, Zepile sees that right now. He sees it. There's certain things that he does stand for. Certain things, he kind of is against. He didn't really like the idea of, tricking people in that arm wrestling setup that they had, that Leorio kind of set up for him. He kind of reluctantly does it, but, again, they made it clear that he's not really a fan of that approach. But I think that component of this episode alone just really makes this episode something that could be quite integral, right, in the long term. And also, finally, how about Leorio and Nen, right? So they haven't really specified yet if he did actually have the chance to learn through the instructor, and I'm just going to go ahead and assume that he was, given an instructor, or an instructor was sent into his direction. But I suppose because of his studies at the moment, it just didn't really happen organically. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how exactly that develops, right? Because surely he'll learn it at some point, right? I mean, he knows enough, or not enough. He knows. I suppose he knows a few of the basics. I mean, I think that's being a little bit generous there. He knows about Nen, but it's like the most base level understanding of Nen, and it appears that he just kind of learned about that on his own, right? Because he hasn't mentioned any specific instructor. So yeah, I'm really quite excited about that. Leorio actually, getting to learn Nen properly. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access to the next few episodes right now, or perhaps even full opacity or timer-based full length, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 49. Until then, take it easy.